So I wanted to come on and only just look at some charts and not read the whole chart, but point out some things that kind of pop out. And then I want to encourage you to actually ask a more specific question. And of course, that can be difficult if you're very new to it. At the same time, in your gene keys, there's going to be a page where it says, some things that you can start from. So it's really good. And even when you do your body graph, your human design chart, there's going to be some information. So really good to ask something about that so that we can all learn from it. And although I feel like it's so interesting for me to just dive into the profiles, sometimes I just can spend forever on them. So I'm going to kind of more try to be like, okay, this is what stands out. So let me go in and share some of the posts. So here we have Esther, who we can see is a 3-5 profile, and who has that channel of community that we see here between the ego and the emotional center. We have a beautiful channel of the storyteller here, somebody who goes around in the world and really, by your experiences, you can speak to people. You don't have to point fingers for people to learn. It's really through your traveling, your storytelling. You're somebody who's also very, very open-minded. It's not black or white, right or wrong for you, and you really want to stand for that. You're a synthesizer. You are going to be a changer in the world if you live out your true self. You are going to do things in new ways. You're going to have new solutions for people, and you can be very determined in that. And have an enormous versatility as well. So it's very important for you to stand up for that and to not pretend you're certain if you aren't. And also for your own sake, sometimes when there are too many ideas just swirling around, to give yourself a break and come down to the body and really ground is very important. And then we have this beautiful combination here of all the other channels that connect. So you have the channel of a transmitter, which means that since you're a storyteller, this is beautiful to have this as well, because the message that you are speaking is a message that the world can receive. You also are really good at pointing out what doesn't work and have a solution for it. And I feel like that comes together with this tribal ability associated with tenderness, equality, solutions. So probably that pointing out can happen in the group, in the tribe, in the community, or in the pack where you are living or working, functioning. And you're really good at knowing how to organize the resources or the people and who is good at what. You have that ability to see and to place people in the right place. I also see that you have a lot of 18. So you see that is part of this. So you have it in your masculine energy, you have it in your sexual energy, you have it in your law and your values. So there's something about integrity that is so important for you and for your stability in life. And that also has to do with, it's a kind of perfection. Like when you walk and live in integrity, that's the highest. Then you're going to attain the highest that you are here to attain. That's a kind of perfection in that. And that, like I said, it's coming back so many times. So you probably want to read the 18th gene key, or listen to the audio contemplation. Go to the website in the Living Library, and there you have a lot of free resources on it as well. I might be able to post something as well here, just a summary. And then I see also in your North Node that, you are here. There's a leadership theme in your destiny that is pretty strong, and it comes from listening and sensitivity. So in your life, when you live out in the tenderness and the equality and in with people in the community, then later in life you are going to be a little bit of a reluctant leader, but you're going to be somebody who's recognized for your leadership. And I wanted to just look at the pearl. Would that be here? Yeah. So yeah, again, the essence of your life is to work life in integrity and perfection, and to be a visionary. And it's so important for you to not compromise that vision, but to really believe in your own truth, and to walk that in the world. And then you're really going to be a role model for other people. Yeah, So questions on this, Esther, please feel free to post. And let's see what we have. Maybe I can go to the photos. No, because when it's in the comments, that's something I can say too. Maybe if you post it as a post and not as a comment, I will be able to actually find the posts better. Here we have Petra. Yeah, she told me that she was we met this summer in Sweden, and she told me that she's a ego projected projector. So here we have a very not a very common chart at all. The profile is quite common. It's a 1-3. So somebody is here to live out her own destiny and to, investigate the things that she's interested in. And life is going to make her bump into things, and it's important for her to like let that happen and to not criticize herself or shame herself for what can look as failures, because it's not failures actually. It's really just how life is supposed to be, and we can see that as well actually in the radiance here, that there could be a fear of failure, and it's so important to not let that fear of failure actually rule your life in any way, because you're here to see what's worth putting your energy on. And we see here, well, I said it's an ego projected projector. So that means that the only two centers that we have defined are the ego and the G center and the channel of the shaman. So there is, in the shadow frequency, there can be a lot of agitation, and even agitation constriction together, which is kind of when it's going to explode at some point. If you have agitation and then you constrict it, and then at one point it's just going to and that is part of the life path, and it's a black activation, so it's a personality activation. It's from the moment of birth. This activation is not a soul activation, so it's something that actually is quite conscious and that Petra can see happening in herself. We can see where we have it in Saturn on this side, and then the 25 is the North Node. So it's a theme of values and destiny. It's a very strong theme that has to do with the whole life path and where she's going. And this is what she can always trust in herself. This is always going to be there. And then you can see the love of being here in physical form. It's also there. This kind of, I feel somehow it's like a feminine energy. That's what I get in this combination. And then we have the 21, which is an authority. So there could be this kind of authority for that love of being here in human form. And the form is, of course, the feminine, what we often think about. And then the authority that is there inherent, but it's a soul activation, and it comes from the North Node on this side. So you can see that the North Nodes are in these defined centers that are always consistent, that she can always trust. So she can trust that in herself she has everything to walk the path to where she's supposed to go into the North Node. And I think if we look at age, 69, so it's also that age that actually after Uranus return when you can start to step in to actually to that North Node and start to live it in your life. I could see that there is so many activation here in the splenic center, so a lot of intuition and instinct and feeling with the body. And just important to know there that it's still an open center. So when you hold on to something that's not good for you, it's something that can really actually be quite it's like it can be quite detrimental for you. So it's important for you to ask yourself, whatever lingers in your life, whether it's a relationship, a job, a situation, even a place to live, ask yourself if it's good for you physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. You're also somebody that has all this openness, so you can feel other people's emotions. Good to know what's yours and what isn't. The energy, you need time for yourself, and you need time to not be tucked into other people's auras. Probably to sleep by yourself can be good. And the openness that I was speaking about before, of being able to have many ideas. Your life is going to have some doubt and some and some confusion and a lot of questions, and that's also what's going to fuel this part where the agitation goes into initiative and awakening, and actually you can feel so much of that universal embrace and love that comes through those defined centers and channels and gates. And then the throat is like, yeah, you can sound very different probably in different areas, different environments with different people, and maybe that's something that you want to look at, so you are with people that kind of, either speak the same language as you, or listen. There's something there with you. Important to not have to seek approval or attention all the time, but to be somewhere where it's natural to speak as who you are, um, and important for you to see that you're really speaking your truth, because with the open emotional and the open throat and avoiding conflict or truth, that could actually be something that creates some problems for you. I see that the 6 is on both sides of Pluto, and you also have it somewhere else. You have it here in your culture. So conflict can be a part of your life. Do you have a detriment here? So you could, like, there's something with conflict you're here to see. And there's also something with your aura that probably is not through words or anything, because we see that the 6 is in the emotional center. It's actually through your frequency and through your aura that you're going to be able to inspire diplomacy and peace, and that's very important. And that's all only going to happen if you don't fall into the veil of Neptune and her compromising. When she compromises, she can veil Pluto and what you're really here to do. So you want to be careful with compromises. And it's kind of tricky for 1-3, because a 1-3, one of the challenges for 1-3 is really to be a bit like selfish in a way, or what's in it. If it's nothing in it for you, you don't go for it. And it's so important for you to actually start not only doing things for yourself, but see that relationships are worth it. So that at one in one way. And so I don't feel like, might not be so much in relationships where the compromises could happen, but there could be some area of your life where there are compromises, and you want to look at that, because those compromises could basically prevent you from having peace and creating that peace that you're here to create in the world. So yeah, I think that's what pops out. Let's see if I can make this smaller. Yeah, my internet connection is probably not the best. I always say that. Okay, so now I pulled up Thomas' chart, and it also seems like you're new to this. So first of all, here I see, you're a 4-6 profile. So for you, it's very important to do what you love and to serve the world through doing what you love. That's the main thing for the 4-6. And it's important for you to find your right allies in life. And probably the first 30 years of your life, that can have been not so lucky in that, because you're here to really be more in trial and error the first 30 years and be through things that are difficult, because that's what's making you a 6-line being after 30, or after the first Saturn return. So the challenge when we look at the evolution for the 4-6 is a kind of anxiety, and that anxiety comes from not really having the courage to live with an open heart. Because when you go through those situations and experiences at a young age, there's something in you that might close, which is that open-heartedness. And some 4-6s don't even know that you have that heart, depending on what we come with and what the experiences are during those first decades. So what really creates the breakthrough. We speak about the challenge here in this pathway, and then between the evolution of radiance, we speak about the breakthrough. And that is, it comes from really tuning back into the heart um, and allowing new friendships to be created, and allowing the heart to be open even when there are no friendships, and to live with that open heart. And that is, if we look at it at the challenge that you don't overcome, then there is dissatisfaction, there is stress, there are relationships that don't work, and then there could be a lot of judgment because you see that things could be done in a better way. So yeah, you don't feel like your vision is nurtured at all. You see only how you could do it in a better way, and you start having a lot of opinions about it. But at the same time, you might be a bit distant because you don't really want to play, because there's nothing to really play with, you feel like. And then in your relationships, it can be quite lonely, actually. The relationship might be quite sterile, or at least there's no fertile soil to plant in. And you could be either regimented and try to like kind of make life, regimented, or you could feel quite lost, depending on how you live out the shadow frequency of this. And then in the core wound, there is intolerance that comes, of course, together with the judgment that come from the dissatisfaction, the stress, and the relationships where there is nothing fertile to plant in. That leads to intolerance and leads to kind of separation again, that you don't really feel like you belong, or you haven't found your allies, and that could go round and round and round forever. So that is this activation sequence in the shadow frequency. And then in the higher frequency, like I said, you're here to serve the world with what you love. You serve yourself first, and through that you serve others. And that's when you can find your vitality again. That's when you can find your inner stillness. And that's also when your heart is going to be, is going to feel courageous again, and you're not going to get stuck in anxiety, but you're going to see that what before could seem like pretty big problems, it's really nothing when you come back to your heart. And then you break through, and you're going to start living in integrity, and not so much pointing out what's wrong around you, but really more concentrating on your own integrity and choosing those friendships and those people that nurture your vision. And when your vision is nurtured, your farsightedness, your view is going to be so much broader, and it's going to like be something that is inherent in you to see like where we're going and where things are going. And then in your relationships and your sexuality and what you attract to you, it has to do with this feminine principle of flow. There's going to be a lot of flow, and like we say, the soil suddenly is very fertile, so whatever you plant in it's going to flow. And then the core wound is transcended, and what you get is so much understanding, because you're not stuck in the frequency of intolerance. It's open up and becomes understanding and even forgiveness. And that sixth line is, resonant with your soul, the dot six, that has to do with that big perspective and the vision of where we're going, and that kind of even philanthropy, because you see the big, you don't even only see yourself. And we can see as well that you're here to be a leader in some way. Your essence is leadership, but it's something that comes from something simple. So instead maybe of judging everything that's wrong, it's about simplifying and concentrate your life on what's really important for you. So on the inner plane, I would say simplifying is important for you. And on the outer plane, your network and the people around you are really, really important. Also, when it comes to the emotional and how you can heal, and the emotional is to really make sure that there's kindness. And every time where it gets triggering in relationships or emotionally, it's that kindness that can come and help, because that kindness can open up it's a big toolbox through that kindness. And when there isn't kindness, when there's more distance and cold, you can go back into feeling an inadequacy that you might have felt when you were a young child, and that might make you go up to your mind and really start to try to fix things instead, and aspire for something maybe in 3D, which could be, power or money, or like work a lot, and not stay in the feelings because it feels cold, but really stay there and find the resourcefulness and find the kindness and find the people that are kind too. And then when it comes to the physical body, have a great potential to really just live the ecstasy and the light of the physical body and live it in flow and freedom. And that's really the number one key for you to be healthy in life, to really, really be able to tap into that, to even that kind of inner child, in a sense of loving to be here and just kind of eat fruits from the trees and to be really in the light and in flow. So that's something for your physical that's really important. And then when it comes to what is good for you, when it comes to what you can do in the world and your role and your everyday role in maybe at work or so, you're not really meant to be somebody who has rules. So you are a heretic here, and you're supposed to make your own rules. So that's good to know if you're in a job and you feel like somebody's telling you what to do. Yeah, that it's not, I don't get surprised if that doesn't fit you. And it's really, could be a little risk of distraction. So here we would say that what can make you lose, abundance, money, prosperity, could be distraction. If you get distracted, or if there are projects with other people and there's distractions, that is what could make you lose money. Really what you want to kind of focus on is real true enrichment, not distraction, but like, really live something that's enriching. So I can also see you somebody who moves around and goes to different places and connects the dots, but even on a kind of leadership level. So this would be interesting to hear what you're doing in life and how that could connect to this, which would of course also connect to this thing that you're serving with vitality in some way. That's your role, and there is a leadership essence, and then also this higher perspective of understanding and forgiveness, instead of being kind of aloof, distant, judged, looks down at everything and feels like humanity is never going to make it anyway. So there is no point of playing. That would be the worst case scenario. So yeah, please, if you're new to this, just ask more questions if something was unclear. Yeah, and it's possible that I forget or I don't see, like you were saying, I don't see everything. So also, like you did here, I can see that you are also answering each other's questions, which is great. I think the more the group is growing as well, and the more people we have in different areas that are interested in different things, we can help each other. So yeah, so that's great. Thank you.